Have you ever read a book and thought, why didn't I understand this years ago? Recently, I began reading E Squared by Pam Grout. Now, I've only just started, yet I am finding it incredibly refreshing because it presents manifestation in a way that feels simple, practical, and easy to grasp. I'm excited. I'm actually excited about it as I'm reading through it. And she has exercises to go with it. What fascinates me is that many of the ideas are not new. Now, I've read Wallace Wattles, just absolutely love his book, The Science of Getting Rich. I've listened to Dr. Joe Dispenza and Abraham Hicks. I've studied personal development, mindset, and manifestation for years. Yet suddenly, through this book, something is landing differently. Pam Grout writes, to bring something into the physical world requires focusing not on what we see, but on what we want to see. Absolutely, almost words out of Wallace Wattles' mouth. Don't let the current situation determine what you are looking for. So when I read those words, I realised they beautifully summarise what so many teachers have been saying all along. Wallace Wattles encouraged us to think from the vision we want to create. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches us to emotionally connect with our future self rather than remaining attached to our current circumstances. He really emphasizes the emotional attachment, but everybody in their writings places importance on bringing forth the feeling of that achievement. So he's not the only one that talks about that connection. Pam Grout presents similar principles through simple experiments and playful evidence. And I'm so excited to be starting it. In fact, she starts off with the very first manifestation exercise of looking for the numerals 222 within 48 hours. So that's my first assignment. And I look forward to sharing with you the results and lots of other experiments that she carries out. So Pam Grout, let me repeat that. Pam Grout presents similar principles through simple experiments and playful evidence. Different teachers, similar messages. Yet sometimes one phrase, one story, or even one exercise suddenly causes everything to click. So, I'll share again with you. I know this stuff. I know Abraham Hicks says it's as easy to create a castle as it is a button. And at various times, I've shared with you my experience of the car parking spaces in town. Now, when you drive a vehicle like mine, that does not have power steering, and because the camera light is underneath the tray of the ute, it's very difficult for me anyway to judge the space between the end of the tray, which you can't see obviously, and the vehicle behind you, because that blessed camera is tucked underneath the tray and it gives you a false impression. So perhaps similar messages, different teachers, yet sometimes one phrase, one story, or one exercise suddenly causes everything to click, which took me back to that example of Abraham Hicks and the float and the castle on the button. However, the first task is, as I've said, looking for that number 222. And I'm excited because, for a person like my personality, I love, I really like direction and guidance. And to have an exercise to complete within 48 hours, it's going to be darn jolly awesome. So perhaps the lesson, it's finally sinking in because I have spent years reading, listening, learning, and exploring these ideas from many different teachers. And that in itself is a powerful lesson. We often think understanding comes from finding the right book. Well, to a certain degree, it does. In reality, though, understanding often comes from becoming the person who is ready to receive the message. Let me repeat that. In reality, the understanding often comes from becoming the person who is ready to receive the message. Because as the saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And usually the teacher doesn't arrive suddenly. Perhaps there has been a lesson there all along, just waiting for you, for your comprehension, your understanding, for your eyes, for your heart to see it. Perhaps we simply become ready to hear it. Now, the teacher may be a book, a conversation, a mentor, a life challenge, or even a sentence we've heard 100 times before. And finally, it clicks. It lands with a thud. There are books I've read multiple times that I understand differently today than I did 5 years ago. Why? Because the meaning has become deeper. I am not the same person I am today who I was 5 years ago. There are conversations that make sense now because life has given me experiences that provide context and wisdom. My own journey through divorce, rebuilding my life, at the mature age of 60 plus, and navigating cancer after that has taught me that growth really and truly, more often than not, happens layer by layer. When I look at the person I was before my divorce, during my divorce, and even after my divorce, she's not the person who looked cancer in the face or in the eye and said, after the pity party, this is going to be a walk in the park because I have the skills to get through this. Going through the divorce, I didn't have the skills, the knowledge, the strength, or the courage, any of that. But going through the cancer, I did. So life has a way of giving you a deeper meaning. Giving you a deeper meaning to those teachers that perhaps you encountered years ago that made intellectual sense, but only now carry a deeper meaning because of what you've lived through, because of what I've lived through. Life is a way of doing that. We gather knowledge, we collect experiences, we face challenges, we heal, we grow. And one day, seemingly out of nowhere, understanding arrives. Not because the message changed, because we changed. And as I reflected on this, I realized something else. The words beneath my Thrive and Shine logo have been expressing this journey all along. Can you believe that? We read or we listen, as the case may be. We learn, we evolve, and ultimately we thrive. And isn't that exactly what personal growth looks like? Not one giant breakthrough, not one perfect book, not just one life-changing moment, but a series of lessons, a series of experiences, challenges, and insights that gradually shape who we are becoming. And that is why I encourage you to keep reading, keep listening, keep learning, keep exploring. Not every book will become your favorite. Not every lesson will resonate immediately. And not every piece contributes to your growth. And one day, just like a rainbow, a sentence, a chapter, a conversation, or an unexpected life experience may just unlock an understanding that shines the light on it all. So today, ask yourself, what future version of me am I focusing on? Am I spending more time observing my current circumstances or creating a vision for what I want to experience? Well, after starting Pam Grout's book E Squared, I'm pretty darn excited to be creating a vision of what I want to experience with even more gusto. Because remember, where our attention goes, our energy flows. And perhaps the next teacher, next lesson, or breakthrough is already there right in front of you. And you are simply becoming ready to receive it. With heart, Margarita.